Hello lovely people, I hope you're all doing amazing. So in this video I am going to show you how I made this mikate and it is absolutely tasty. So if you want to know how I made it, keep watching. These are the ingredients for the mikate recipe. So I have 3 cups of self-raising flour here, along with a cup of lukewarm water, a teaspoon of yeast. I also have here a cup of sugar, as well as a teaspoon of vanilla extract and a teaspoon of salt. I also used extra equipment such as this glass cup and a spoon. I also used this sieve and the most important equipment, my mixing bowl. So I started off by sifting the flour into this bowl, and this part is optional. You can just pour the flour in without having to sift it. I just prefer to do it because it makes my batter less lumpy. So once I had done that, I used this glass cup to add my yeast and my lukewarm water into. I then mixed them both together with my spoon until the yeast was completely dissolved in the water. In this step, I gradually added the yeast and water mix into the flour so that I could mix it into like a sticky doughy paste. Now this is where I added the extra water for mixing, and like I previously did with the water and yeast mix, I added this water gradually so that the batter does not end up being too runny. Now in this section, I'm aiming for the batter to be soft but slightly hard. I'll show you why in a minute. So here I added some sugar, granulated sugar to be specific, and then I started mixing the sugar in with the batter, and I mixed them together thoroughly so that the batter can soften. The sugar here is what makes the batter softer. I don't know the science behind it, but that is how it works. And it's quite impressive really. So that is why I make sure that before I add the sugar in, the batter is a tad bit hard. And yeah, it takes a while to get to this stage, so you're going to need a bit of strength to do the mixing. Now I added a bit of salt here to enhance the flavour. Of course, you don't have to do this. This is what I prefer to do. It makes it taste better in my opinion. So anyway, I mixed that in with the batter. I also added some vanilla here and mixed it together. Now because the batter here was a bit too soft for my liking, I ended up adding an extra 1/4 cup of flour just to make it a bit harder. And like I said earlier in the video, it does take a bit of mixing, so I had to mix it thoroughly to remove all the lumps. I then covered it with some cling film, making sure to wrap it around the bowl entirely. So you can see here that I wrapped it around 3 to 4 times. You can also see here that I used a pair of scissors to cut the end off, and I also secured the outer parts of the bowl or the cling film if you must. And once I had done all that, I left it to proof outside for a minimum 3.5 hours. Now this is where the frying process begins. So I've got my pot here which I added a litre of oil into. I've also got my batter here. Yes, I did use some of it beforehand, but you can see that it's proved. So I dipped my fingers into some water, and I then took a section of the batter and started scooping it upwards just to form a ball shape. So you can see here that I scooped my hands and dragged it upwards in a swiveling motion. Once I took it off the oil, I used my thumb to flick it into the oil. And so I just repeat the same process until I've used up all the batter. So you can see here once again that I scooped a section of that batter and dragged it upwards in a swiveling motion, making sure that my fingers press the edge of the bowl as I'm doing this, and using my thumb to grab it off the bowl and flick it into the oil. Yes, it's tricky and complex when you start learning to do this, but with practice and time, you will learn to master it. Honestly, you'll get the hang of it. It just takes a lot of practice. Like, I remember struggling to do this the first time, so I honestly understand why some of you will find it difficult. Obviously, this is not the only way to form the balls and throw them into the oil. You can use 2 spoons if you want to. You can also use the palm of your hands to grab the batter and squeeze it out through there. There's lots of ways to do this, but this method is what works best for me. Also guys, I apologize for the way my voice is sounding. I'm currently suffering from a cold. It seems that I'm always falling ill somehow. I don't understand why, but I cannot let this illness stop me from doing this voiceover. Also, just a quick disclaimer, before I actually start frying my mikate, I let my pot heat first before adding some oil. So I let it heat for about 5 to 10 minutes on medium to high heat, and then once I add my oil, I let it heat for an extra 10 to 15 minutes on medium heat. This is what makes the mikate fry well without burning. So you can see here that the mikate balls have started to change color, and I usually like for my mikate balls to be golden brown, so while I'm frying them I always turn the heat down just a little bit so that I can take extra care not to burn them. So once they were cooked, I put them away onto a plate with tissues on it, and I do this to drain the oils from the mikate because I don't really like my mikate to be too oily. So once I had put all the mikate away, I then transferred them onto this little bowl here for presentation purposes, of course, and I topped it off with the very best side dip for this, peanut butter. Honestly, this is one of the best combinations to ever exist. I could eat this every single day and not get tired of it. And that is how I made this mikate. It's so simple to make, and honestly it's very tasty. You guys should try it out for yourselves, you'll love it. If you enjoyed watching this video, please do give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe for more recipes, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Take care guys, goodbye.